But people were saying, oh, they're greedy, they raised their price. It's like, I don't think that's what it was. They probably have been trying to create the most affordable, competitive pricing since they began, and they're realizing if they keep doing that, they're going to go out of freaking business.
And I had a 3.4 kill to death ratio. And basically, there's stats and there's rankings and there's team deathmatch and all these different categories, whatever. The point is the way that whatever you track changes the way you play the game. So if you're tracking fulfillment, you're going to optimize for that. If you're tracking profitability, you're going to optimize for that.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1872, Juggling Fulfillment and Financial Success. I had somebody reach out to me the other day, and I've been having a back and forth discussion with this person for, I don't know, a month or so now. And they're a fitness coach who has opportunities, and you heard me talk about this in one of the previous episodes, and they have a podcast, and they're trying to build their own brand, so they're dream chasing. And they messaged me and said, so I feel like the thing that's going to be the most financially successful for me is going to be coaching, but not necessarily through the podcast. So do you think I should just can the podcast and just go all in on trying to get clients? And I said, it's always hard when giving advice on something like this because it depends on how much the podcast fulfills you. If the podcast fulfills you, I have a belief that you'll actually make more money because everything else you're doing is more sustainable. Fulfillment is important. I think fulfillment is a fuel that burns very, very cool, but for a long period of time. Where I think for most people, inspiration and motivation especially, burns very, very hot, but for a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. It's like gasoline, it burns. You light it, it's going. Where maybe fulfillment is something that doesn't burn as hot, but it burns for a longer...
Like the coals.
Like the coals.
After a good fire.
After a good fire.
That you last all night.
You throw a piece of wood on there, it sparks right up.
Mm-hmm.
You throw gasoline on there, you might burn your face off. It's very possible. You could burn your face off your body. It's possible. That's I haven't seen it happen, but I've been close to seeing that.
I've been close to having it happen, I think.
Yeah, probably the same.
Back in the bonfire days.
Reckless.
Mm-hmm.
Reckless times. And I use the example of, I said, Alan and I have had a conversation recently where I am more fulfilled when I'm in shape. Now, does that mean I'm going to go to the gym for 3 hours a day because I want to be 10 out of 10 fulfilled? No, that's reckless. But it also means I have to put a meaningful amount of time into fitness. So for me, it's like 45 minutes a day. And I think you just upped your 40 to 45. If I didn't go at all, I wouldn't be fulfilled, and then everything else would just kind of suck. If I do it too much and I optimize 1,000% for fulfillment, we're going to go out of business.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't make money from exercising. I'm not a fitness model. If I was, that would be different. This entire conversation would be different. It would be, well, I'm in really good shape and I exercise and I get paid to go to the gym, but I also like to write poetry, but I'm not going to make any money doing that. I probably shouldn't write poetry, right? Well, if it fulfills you and it brings your mood up and you're more likely to go to the gym and get better workouts, then you're going to make more money as a fitness model, bada bing, bada boom, it all kind of aligns. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, because when you are fulfilled, I think everything that you're doing, you're probably going to do better. Just like when you're in a terrible mood, everything you do, you're probably going to do a lot worse. And I think fulfillment is a multiplier in some way. Do I know the exact number that it is a multiplier of? No, but that's kind of where my thought process is for today's episode.
It's also an influential multiplier as well, because fulfilled people are more energetically attractive.
Fair.
I think that, and then they have more energy because their cup is more full. And then they're more likely to... But here's the thing, right? It's so easy to focus too much on what fulfills you at the expense of your career.
Well, I think those are the polarities, right? You only focus on what makes money and screw fulfillment, and you end up miserable.
Yep.
And
you burn hot and then burn out.
Yeah, burn hot and then burn out. Or you only focus on what fulfills you, and then you're living... The day-to-day, the present is amazing. But when you do arrive at that unplanned future, there's not a lot of money left to live life with. What do you have? You have squirrels running around your office?
No, I just got so I have two computers going in the space station. Is what we'll call it, space station. The Space Command Center.
Uh-huh.
I have a bunch in my office. I got a lot going on here. I'm very grateful. My other computer just popped up with a notification that said, you are offline now. Things might not work.
That's
and then now it's back. So that's good.
I
don't
didn't
know
lose
why
you
that
or
happened.
anything.
You didn't?
So I think we're good.
So we're all good.
We're all good.
Okay. Although I did have an interview on Monday, that 2-hour-long interview. Awesome interview. I think you did 3 hours. I think we talked about it.
Yeah.
And my internet cut out right in the middle of our...
Nice.
Emilia and I, the company we we use, had an outage. So 3 times it happened. And we still powered through. I kept showing up. I was like, I'm so sorry. Let's keep going. And we did it. So even if that happens, we're going to make it work. Okay. All of that was irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying this a lot lately. It's my new disclaimer. I don't know why. I don't think anyone else needs to hear it. I need to hear it for me. I'm an engineer. So now that gives me permission to be all weird.
To be an ass.
Kev told me to be no. Well, I don't. Maybe. Who knows? Kev told me once. He said, "I don't really know any engineers." I think that was on the show, and I was, what? And then I talked to Amy behind the scenes. Shout out to Amy Lennius. She said, "Yeah, no, I don't know any engineers either." What?
Why would we?
I don't know. I just can't imagine a world where you wouldn't know a bunch of engineers, but I also went to an engineering college, and a lot of my friends were engineers. And Emilia felt the same way. I always thought about engineering too because I love tech, but I don't know that many engineers either. And I'm like, what the hell? Am I like in this echo chamber of engineers?
Yes.
That's so fascinating. So anyways, I'm an engineer, so everything's a formula. Here's my formula. And a lot of people have heard of Ikigai, so they think I'm ripping it off, when in reality I actually think this is better, but whatever. Okay, so the first one is, what is meaningful work for you? And I underline the word work. I do this with clients all the time. This is always what we're trying to get to the center point of. The first circle of this Venn diagram is, what is meaningful work for you? And it has to be work. Underline work. Metaphorically, and if you are writing this for whatever reason, underline it. Second one is, what are you statistically great at? It has to be top 5%. Has to be top 5%. If you aren't good at it, you can't build your career on it. And I know this is about fulfillment. I understand that. However, this is about success and fulfillment. And the only way to have success and fulfillment is to have a career that is meaningful work for you and something you're statistically good at. Because if you're not good at it, you're never going to succeed beyond the norm, and you're not going to be able to afford your high quality of life. High quality of life costs a lot of money. It needs to be clear. Like, if you want to drive the car you want to drive, if you want to live in a nice home, in a nice area, safe neighborhood, like, it all costs a ton of money. Okay? Third one, rather. So first one is, what's meaningful work for you, underline work. The second one is, what are you statistically great at, underline statistically. It can't be your mom who thinks you're great, Kev. I think you're so handsome. Right. Yeah, of course she does. And then the third one is, what is actually profitable in the economy now and in the future? So what will the economy actually pay you for? And that's the one that's the reason why it's so hard. I say this on other shows. I don't say it on our show enough. And sometimes I want to bring those things to our listeners as well. I actually think success, just success without any fulfillment, is actually fairly easy. Of course, I would think that, but that's my truth. Fulfillment without success is also pretty easy, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think doing them both simultaneously, both external success in your career in tandem, in parallel with internal fulfillment, I think is the hardest freaking thing in the world. Because even when you achieve it, like we have, now you have to sustain it and grow it. And I think that that's the hardest thing. And that's what I do with all my clients. Some of them are burning hot. One of my clients, shout out to Matt, not fulfilled. I could tell. Showing up to the calls, it's like, dude, you were on fire. I said, is this a pattern? He said, well, I do. I burn hot and then I burn out. He used almost those exact words. And he said, some of this is a pattern. I said, some of this is a pattern, but some of this is you're not fulfilled right now. Why? We got to dig into this. He's like, yeah, I think 60% of it is I'm not really doing anything I really enjoy anymore. It's like, okay, where are your superchargers at? Where are your cup fillers? We need to have some of them. A lot of people think, oh, well, you love movies, and so you are an R too. Yes, but you got to understand, my R&R is strategic. I have an hour of R&R. I try minimum per day. And I always do food and film. Not always, but a lot of the time. Why? It's cheap. I need to eat anyway. And I'm actually relaxing my body because I'm constantly doing stuff and I work out every day. So your R&R needs to be fulfilling. Whatever, you have to go to your superchargers. Otherwise, like, imagine an iPhone. I always use this metaphor. The iPhone chargers that suck from Amazon, the knockoffs, they don't work. You wake up, you got 20%. You're like, uh-oh. So sleep is a supercharger. R&R is a supercharger. And then the cup fillers. You need. I told this, shout out to Matt. I said, Matt, you got to start doing some of the things that fulfill you.
Yeah.
You have to. Now, don't spend your whole day doing them. You have some goals to achieve, sir. But you got to do at least a few hours a week. At least.
Well, I think fulfillment doesn't feel productive, but it can be. But if you only do fulfillment, then you're going to end up, that's not a recipe for success.
Exactly.
And that's why it's so hard. Again, this is why the advice you take is so challenging. There are some people that have so much results financially in life that they can just focus on hyper fulfillment. And they can travel and spend time with family, but that's because the finances are taken care of. If I didn't have to worry about finances, I could just podcast all day, every day, or I could rap all day, or I could go to the gym I could just do all of the things that I think are fulfilling. And the truth is, I wouldn't be as fulfilled because I wouldn't be growing and contributing towards something necessarily.
Exactly.
And that's
but you could do it more than you're doing it now. Right?
I think one of the challenging things is when you start to get and when I say financial success, I'm not saying that you're a millionaire. I'm not saying you're making six figures. When it feels like you've reached a new level of financial success, whatever that means. Maybe you're making $1,000 a month in your dream chasing, and now you're making $2,000. Awesome, great, awesome. Or 0 to 50, whatever. It creates the opportunity for you to explore potentially new, fulfilling things. As an example, for me, you don't hear me talk about jiu-jitsu anymore because I'm not going to jiu-jitsu. I canceled my membership. It was $160 a month, and it was a little, I don't want to say arrogant because I don't think it was arrogant. It was a little naive to think that, I'll be able to go to a class every 3 or 4 days a week at 10 a.m. No, not going to happen. Doesn't work that way. If they had a 7 a.m. class, maybe, but would it work with the flow of work? Probably not. But that became an opportunity because of business success that I could then test out. And then I had to choose. Would you rather go...
Sorry.
Yeah, you should be. You should
continue.
I'm just about done. Would you be... If you had to choose, Kev, let's say you had to choose in this situation. Jiu-jitsu, weightlifting. What would you choose? I would choose weightlifting. Okay, cool. I'm not saying you have to choose between financial success and fulfillment. What I am saying is you might have to choose between 5 things that fulfill you and then prioritize those accordingly, and one might get squished out for this season. That's what I ended up doing, and now I go to the gym 5 days a week minimum, and I spend 45 minutes there, and it's awesome, and I'm meal prepping, and I'm tracking my macros, and I'm weighing myself and all that stuff. I'm loosely tracking my macros, not as much as I was when I was dieting. But I would rather do that than go to jiu-jitsu, and sometimes there are gives and takes with that.
I realized in hindsight that when you had said, do you think it's time for jiu-jitsu, I didn't realize it's not just, okay, the $160 a month, whatever, that's fine. It's the fact that your whole morning is going to be unproductive. Completely different. Yeah, because you have to drive there. You have to shower because you sweat up a storm. So you have to shower more than you normally do.
No, same. That's the same.
Okay.
The drive is 5 minutes longer.
Okay.
Literally, my gym's 6 minutes away. This gym was 11 minutes away.
But you can't go anytime you want. That's the
issue. Can't go
anytime
you want.
You can't go anytime you want. Yes. Yeah, and if there was a 5 a.m. class, it probably could work.
It wouldn't work now with my schedule. No.
Or 6 would work.
No, the way I have it now, I like it. I like waking up, doing mobility, doing self-improvement, making sure everything's good. Then I go to the gym at 7:30. It's good. I guess if there was a 7:30 class, maybe that would work.
So a lot of people might be thinking, well, you got to live. You got to live a little. Here's the deal. Kevin and I are in our 30s. This is build years. You're supposed to build in your 30s. I'm not trying to supposed to. I don't want to project. I don't want to come off as
we have to.
We have to. Yeah.
We have to build in our 30s because Alan's gonna have a family. Soon-ish in the next 5 years. I'm not gonna have a family in the next 5 years. Most likely, I think we'll maybe adopt at some point. I don't know. But this is the time where the priority is grow the business, and we are secondary to that. Next Level Nation, what is happening? If you've thought to yourself, I want to try coaching, but you don't really know where to start, group coaching would be a wonderful place for you. That's really why we created it in the first place. We start a new round every 90 days. So if you're hearing this, go to the website, nextleveluniverse.com, and we have the landing page where you can actually hold your spot right now. Even if there's a group going on right now, you can still lock your spot for the next one. The biggest thing that we've seen is as we get closer and closer to the date, unfortunately, some people end up missing. The group fills up and they can't do it, and then they end up regretting that. So please head over to the website. The link will be in the show notes, and we would love to see you there.
Build yourself, build your family, build your business. Whatever order you want to do it in, it depends. I was telling Kev this is a video game analogy, but we both loved Call of Duty back in the day. Kev's like, I still do, son.
I was going to say.
Yeah. And I was saying how way back I used to play Call of Duty Ghosts. I was on a podcast recently with someone who loved Anthony. He loves Ghosts. Call of Duty Ghosts. That was the OG. Back in 2015, I think, 2014. And I had a 3.4 kill to death ratio. And basically there's stats and there's rankings and there's team deathmatch and all these different categories, whatever. The point is the way that whatever you track changes the way you play the game. So if you're tracking fulfillment, you're going to optimize for that. If you're tracking profitability, you're going to optimize for that. Like, I have a client right now who does, shout out to you, brother. He works in education. He works at the bank. He does Uber Eats deliveries on the side. He tutors on the side, and he just started coaching. Okay, here's the deal. He expects himself to not be as fulfilled. This is a growth phase where he's anticipating potential burnout and trying to mitigate it. And he's anticipating not being as fulfilled. In some ways, he's more fulfilled than sitting around, that kind of thing. But he knows this is a profitable goal, so he's focused on buying a home, and he's on his way. And he's coaching with me twice a week, so holy crap. But the idea here is, listen, this is the chapter that you're in, and what is he optimizing for? He's optimizing for growth and profitability. He's not optimizing for funsies. And that's okay for a season. All of us have different core values. All of us have different things. Like, what do you want to optimize for? If you have $500,000 sitting in a bank account, then you don't have to optimize for profitability as much as we do. Because we have expenses. We have a team. Right? So we have a business. We have to build it. A lot of people don't understand. Okay, you build a $500,000 business and you earn $500,000 a year, but you have to spend $400,000 to keep that snowball rolling. And then it goes, it was 300 and 200, and then it was, 300 gross, 200 expenses. Then it was 400 gross, 300 expenses. Then 500 gross, 400 expenses. When it gets to $1 million, it'll be 800 expenses. Kev, can you explain that? Because I think that's important, not only in career too, because even though that's business, in your career, if you make $100,000 a year, you don't actually make $100,000 a year.
Well, you get taxed more, right? If you made 50 and then you make 100, you get taxed more than you did.
Exactly.
50.
And so you make 100, that's great, but you actually spend 80 to make that 100. I just wonder if that's a principle we should.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain it effectively. It's just, let's say, how do I even explain it? Let's say the reason we're able to make $500,000 is because we have $500,000 worth of demand. But we cannot service all of that demand ourselves. That's not just Alan and I.
Right.
There's a team required. So
and tools and systems and softwares and lifestyle and cars and mortgages,
taxes,
and rent and taxes. Yeah.
Yeah, I pay $210 a month for the fastest internet I can possibly get.
Same.
That adds up. Dad, we pay $50. I don't know how much it is. $40 a month for StreamYard. We have, I don't even know how many Zoom accounts
and Canva
accounts.
Yep.
There's a bunch. Google Drive, Apple Storage. There is thousands and thousands of dollars a month of stuff that's going out. But that's the requirement. When you go to your favorite restaurant, they have to keep the lights on. They have to have Wi-Fi. They have to get everything serviced. They have to do marketing. They have to do branding. They probably do social media. They got to pay everybody. They got to pay everybody's insurance, like all that stuff. But you don't necessarily, understandably, like why would you? You wouldn't think about it. But you don't think about that when the prices go up. Like, well, the prices kind of have to go up because their expenses went up. And they'll go out of business if they don't. They're not just, because I saw some people, StreamYard's the service that we use, and I have no affiliation to it, so it sucks that the price went up, I understand. But people were saying, oh, they're greedy, they raised their price. It's like, I don't think that's what it was. They probably have been trying to create the most affordable, competitive pricing since they began, and they're realizing if they keep doing that, they're going to go out of freaking business.
Yeah.
And now they have to raise their prices. I don't think a lot of it comes, some of it comes from a place of greed for sure, but not, I don't think most of the time it's that. So
Nice.
That's probably the best I could add to that.
Well, they probably invested in some new engineers and some new technologies and some new IT systems, and now they need to raise the price to sustain that. And they also probably have a competitive advantage that now they can charge more. And by the way, if you charge more, you earn more. If you earn more, you can invest more in the company and make the product or service even better, right? So the competitive aspect of careers in business, I would love to, again, careers more than business, because this isn't a business podcast, but I would love to pick your brain at some point, Kev, about what you didn't understand about finances in the past, because this is health, wealth, life, and love. And when it comes to the wealth, I don't think, and I need to, I'm not trying to pick on Kev, so just
pick
I
on
need to
me,
be clear
son.
about that. You were CFO, and I didn't know what you didn't know. And you said I shouldn't be CFO, and that's all fine. In hindsight, I don't think that you understood how it all worked. And now you do. So you have an opportunity to share that in a way that, it's like me with, I didn't understand how the inner child worked, and I didn't understand humility, courage, vulnerability. I didn't understand abandonment challenges and defective, unlovable, unwanted, and all the stuff Emilia's taught me. I didn't know any of that. So to me, there's so much that you can transcode for people, because you've been on both ends of this. Because some stuff, I said this on a podcast earlier, some of this stuff is so natural to some of us. We don't even give good advice. We don't even know. I've never not thought about, like, when I walk into a Panera Bread, I'm literally contemplating the profit and loss statement, like in real time. And I'm asking myself, okay, why is this soup this much? And what's the bread cost? And how much, and then what's that person make? And kiosks, that's smart. I'm doing that all the time. Bottomless coffee makes perfect sense. That's why people come, but then they spend more on the salads that are overpriced because, right? So I'm doing all that in my head. So you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you do know, unfortunately. And so hopefully we can do an episode on that.
I think, real quick, the real flex is not how much money you make. The real flex is how little money you spend. If instead of saying how much money do you make, imagine a world where you didn't ask somebody that. You said, hey, how much money do you spend a month? You'd get a really quick understanding of how much money that person would actually have to make in order to afford that lifestyle. Or if they're not actually affording that lifestyle, it'd become abundantly clear. That's something that I would just start with.
Well, it's the trend line. Is it going up?
100%.
I think overall, are you earning more over time and spending less than you earn more? Which is hard to explain, but like, I think if your revenue or your income increases by $100,000, can you keep your expenses only increasing at 70?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
If you increase the amount of money you made by 50% and you increase your expenses by 60%, you didn't make any more money. You actually lost 10% of your income.
Yes.
It just doesn't.
And you're on your way downhill. Yep.
It just doesn't seem like it, and it's really easy. Well, no, I'm good. I can re-up my lease. I'll get a 2026 now. I'm good. I can get a 2026 vehicle because I got a pay increase. This was something that I didn't realize because I'd never done this before. Car payment is one thing. Insurance is another thing. When you register a brand new vehicle, you know how much it cost me? $1,000 to register my car. And then it costs $700 the next year. Like that's $100. I mean, essentially that's $100 a month. That's $90 a month. If you were to, so that adds up. So that comes right off. So it's very easy to spend money. Spending money is really easy.
I know when you get a jump.
It's fun as hell.
Well, it's way easier to spend than it is to earn.
Yeah, and it's
that's
fun.
Just a fact. It's click of a button. You spend money. earning money, not just a click of a button, right?
If you're really good at gambling, you know.
No one's really good at gambling, man. I counted cards in my past, sir. I was actually really good. We got to jump.
Yeah,
Fulfillment.
we got to jump.
What are you statistically great at? What fulfills you, meaningful work for you, and what will the economy actually pay you for? What do they consider valuable? And if you can find the epicenter of that and really focus there, just make sure that you're not burning hot and burning out, but you're also not only focused on what's fulfilling, because if you are only focused on what's fulfilling, you might end up ironically not fulfilled.
And ask yourself, this is a good question that I would ask myself that would definitely raise my awareness. Which one do you find comes really easy to you? Which one do you find that comes really easy to you? If I said, hey, could you get 10 out of 10?
It's my funnest. The most fun.
Could you get my funnest? Could you get 10 out of 10 fulfilled this month versus could you become 10 out of 10 financially free? Which one would you say comes easier to you? How dare you?
I'm so sorry, but that was a good one.
I'm going to start shitting on you when you make mistakes.
You got to, man. It is what it is.
No, I don't like to.
No?
No.
Playfully. We're fun with it.
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes it's like a timing thing because I know you can't. Then we go off the rails a little bit, so it depends. I have to be very strategic with my Jeff pokings.
Well, I don't want us to come off like we have. I think it's important to.
We have fun.
Yeah, and
yeah, we're having fun.
We're not trying to be perfect.
No.
Yeah, I think that was hilarious.
I don't know. Sometimes you start saying something and you want to change what you say, but it's too late. So that's all that was. That was just me glitching. It's like I want to say something different, but I've already committed and I can't. And then I stopped myself as I was saying it.
Yeah.
It's a lot that goes into it. But that would be what I would say. Which one statistically comes easier to you?
Nice.
Fulfillment or external success? And you probably need to work on the other one.
Strong work.
Yeah, you strong work. All right. Next Level Nation, if you are looking for a group of like-minded humans who are into self-improvement, into next levelness, into self-awareness, all of that stuff, we have a private Facebook group. It's called Next Level Nation. We'll have the link in the show notes. We would love to have you there. I'll be doing a shout-out some point this week, maybe tomorrow's episode, of all the new amazing members.
If you want to reverse engineer your goals, metrics, habits, skills, and identity and really get on track with an upward trend line toward external success and internal fulfillment, it's my favorite work in the world. I have, like I said, one client, Matt, we're focused on fulfillment right now, another client focused on success and everything in between. So if you want success and fulfillment, Kev called me the goal engineer. Emilia said, you're more of a fulfillment engineer.
Mm.
And I really appreciated that on the walk yesterday, because I do think when you are in a career you adore, you end up more successful long-term anyway. Long-term is the key there.
You didn't appreciate that I brought it up and then she innovated on it?
No, I did. I just think it's interesting because I do both. But I wonder, she thinks I do fulfillment more than success, which might be the problem.
It's fair.
I love them both so much, but I do think fulfillment is the long-term focus, and I think success short-term is necessary in certain chapters.
Also depends on what somebody defines fulfillment as versus there's a lot of context that's important on who's hearing it.
They're super hard to do both. That's what I would say. But I would say that's what I'm focused on most, is helping my clients achieve external success and internal fulfillment.
Well, and even that is holistic. Holistic means both. It means all. It means well-rounded. It doesn't mean you're all in on one thing and none on the other. That's what holistic means.
Are you the most successful externally you've ever been?
Yes.
Are you the most fulfilled internally you've ever been?
Yes.
Well, I would say we're doing our job well. I can
concur.
say the same.
Yeah, I would concur. And that's what it's all about. And that's why I love doing episodes like this, because I'm not saying don't be fulfilled. I want you to be fulfilled. 100%. If you're on that end where you're grinding your face off and you hate your life, we got to find some fulfillment. Mm-hmm. That's important because that's going to help you do more of the stuff that's going to help you become more externally successful. If you're only fulfilled and you're struggling financially, maybe one of the reasons is you're not doing the external stuff that would bring, that's all. And it might suck. It might not be, I don't really want to do that today. I understand. Sometimes fulfillment is something that is not super productive, but other times it is. So, all right, cool. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans, we have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep after it. Next Level Nation.